Call the meeting to order and have a roll call.
Mr. Fiddler?
Here.
Mr. Burridge?
Here.
Mr. Oberlin?
Here.
Mr. Love?
Here.
Mr. Huckabee?
Here.
Mr. Alexander? Mr. Burgess? Mr. Regan?
Here.
We have a quorum present. First, we'll have announcements. I don't see anybody new that we can welcome unless somebody has a buddy here we need to recognize. Mr. Brackeen will hear your announcements.
Okay. It's my pleasure to be here today for the special occasion. Each year, ODOT recognizes those that have achieved excellence in safety. Taken into consideration are accidents, lost time due to accidents, accident severity, training, housekeeping, and maintenance of equipment. Looking back to the year 1999, there were 10 employee accidents for that year. For the year 2014, this past year, we had 58 employee accidents. Sends a good message, really does. That's an average of a 70% reduction over 15 years. Says something for our program right there. Even though our numbers now are much lower than ever before, it still means we have to work harder towards keeping our employees safer and our accidents lower. The numbers reflect the importance that ODOT places on the safety of its employees. Safety is not just a job of administration, it's everyone's job. Our first award is the Director's Safety Excellence Award, which goes to the top work unit within a division. To win this award, the work unit or crew must be accident-free. And then they must also excel in housekeeping, training, and equipment maintenance. The following are this year's division winners. When I call your name, please come up and accept your award. Division 1, we had a tie. First one is, our first up is Superintendent Billy Jacobs, Sequoia County Maintenance. Billy? Okay. Got it. Okay, yeah. Go for it.
He can hear you.
Superintendent Jeff Perry, Cherokee County Maintenance, Division 1.
Oh, you being sick.
Very good, very good, yeah. Division 2, Superintendent David Hyde, Pushmataha County Maintenance. Division 3, Superintendent Henry Garrison, Division-wide Crew A.
Something on behalf of.
Okay. Accepting his call right there. Division 4, Superintendent Robert Kirkpatrick, Payne County Maintenance. Division 5, Superintendent William Cornell, Traffic Crew. Division 7, Resident Engineer Jerry Harwell, Duncan Residency. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Division 6, Superintendent Jared Drew, Bridge Crew. Division 8, Superintendent Melvin Marshall, Pawnee County Maintenance.
That's good.
Division 9, Branch Manager Monty Smith, Right-of-Way Division, Outdoor Advertising Branch. Our next award is the Progressive Excellence Award, goes to the ODOT division, which has shown the most improvement for the past year. This award is based on their overall safety rating for the past year and in comparison to the previous year. This year's winner improved their safety program by 91%. This year's winner is Division 1, Division Engineer Darren Saliba.
Big.
Just 91%. You know your name.
Our last award is the Governor's Safety Excellence Award. It's a top ODOT Safety Award. It is presented each year to the division with the best overall accident rating for the past year measured by safety standards. Taken into consideration is the accident incident rate, lost time accidents, lost work days, and accident severity. And I will point out there's a new sheriff in town. This year's winner is Division 4, Brian Taylor. Okay, for those accepting awards, could you follow me outside here and we'll take some pictures? Thank you.
As these staff members walk out, let's give them another round of applause. Great accomplishment, great program, and you know, for people to dedicate themselves to safety, that's what we're all about at ODOT. We'll hear item number 37. We need a motion for the approval of the minutes of the March 2nd meeting.
So moved. Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Yes.
Motion passes. We have the consent docket items 38 and 39. If any member would like to pull one item out separately and discuss it, we can. Otherwise, we'll hear a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item number 40. Mr. Tiegler.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 40 is my programming item for this month. It is the counties that include Interstate 35. This is to install new roadway weather information system known as RWIS, closed circuit television cameras, and vehicle detectors at various locations along I-35 from Texas to Kansas. That includes about 23 different locations. This is for $600,000. Approval is recommended.
You've heard the item. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve. Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 41 are the engineering contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 41, I have 24 contracts this month. Parts A through H are statewide engineering contracts. I will just list those. Part A is post-earthquake bridge inspection guidelines. Part B is our on-demand hydraulic and hydrology contract. Part C is our on-demand land surveys. Part D is our on-system bridge inspections. Part E is our off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. Part F is our on-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. Part G is our on-demand roadway geotech services. And Part H is our on-demand bridge geotech services. We're utilizing 24 consultants with these 8 contracts. Parts I through R, U, and X are our bridge rehabilitation contracts this month. We have 12 of those, 12 consultants. And parts S, T, and W are our bridge and approach projects. We have 3 consultants for those, and we have 1 preliminary engineering contract. It's Part V. And of these project-specific contracts, parts I through X, we have a consultant fee of just over $5.4 million. The construction estimate for these projects are just over $55 million. Approval is recommended for these engineering contracts.
You've heard the presentation. What's your pleasure?
So move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I've got a question. It seemed like there's a lot here, Tim. Is there a reason for that on all the contracts? Is it just kind of set up to where it would roll around at this particular point in time and you need to re-up all these?
Yes, it so happens, Commissioner, it's a great question. We have the A through H, one of those being the new one, the post-earthquake bridge inspection. We've been working on that one since about last year. The other ones, we do have an ongoing, about 2-year contracts, so it just happened to fall. It's time to re-up those, so that's a good part of the on-demand contracts. And of course, we have 12 bridge rehab projects that happen to come on from the last 2 months, so. Good question, Commissioner, thank you.
Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Oberlin.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear the supplements.
Item 42 are supplements. I have 5 this month. Part A is our on-demand or on-call, on-demand LiDAR mapping services. This is our airborne contract. Part B is, well, that is with Bering Tree Land Surveying for $250,000. Part B is also statewide, our mobile on-demand LiDAR mapping services. That's with CEC Corporation for $500,000. Part C is a project in Pittsburgh County. It includes the Comanche Interchange, north of McAllister, going south to the Indian Nation Turnpike for $1,768,537 with Craig and Keith Line. Part D in Logan County, we have a bridge, State Highway 51 over West Beaver Creek for $82,916 with CP&Y. And finally, Part E in Stevens County, it's US 81 in Marlow with CEC Corporation for $36,386. And that concludes my supplements, and approval is recommended.
You have a recommendation from staff on item 42.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Oberlin.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 43, the lettings.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, item 43 consists of the final June, the tentative July, and the tentative August 2015 bid openings, and the Department recommends approval of item 43.
You've heard the presentation.
Motion to approve item 43.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Oberlin.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond, item 44 is the change orders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item 44, parts A through Z. These represent the change orders with a cumulative total of $50,000 or less per project. This item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary, but I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Does the commission have any questions on item 44? Move to item 45.
Thank you. I'd like to present item 45, parts A through double C. These are the change orders on projects with a cumulative total greater than $50,000, and your approval is recommended.
I know it was tough on those guys to change committees, especially those guys who've been doing the change orders. Do we want to go over all of them individually for you guys? You've heard.
Motion to approve item 45.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you,
Any
Commissioner.
discussion? By the way, they did a great job in y'all's absence, as they always do. Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Oberlin.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 46, the awards.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman. Item 46 are our recommendations for the March 19th letting. It is recommended that the following items from the letting, referred to by call order, be awarded to the low bidder. Call order 15, 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 130, 140, 160, 165, 170, 210, 220, 230, 240, 260, 270, 290, 300, 320, 325, 330, 335, 340, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, and 400. It is recommended that the following item from the letting referred to by call order be rejected. Call order 250. This concludes our recommendations for award. Your approval is recommended.
You've heard the staff's recommendation.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burris.
Yes.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 47. It's the changes to the budget. Ms. Himes.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Item 47 has 4 parts. It's a budget revision to the 2015 budget. Item Part A is an increase to the federal share of capital outlays for the carryover of federal funds in the amount of $73 million. Part B is a transfer of $52 million. I might point out that there's a typo in the summary information. It's a transfer from state projects to the state share of engineering and federal aid projects. Part C is an increase in the waste station capital outlays of $1.8 million to be utilizing unbudgeted revenue. And Part D is an increase for an industrial access project for $475,000 utilizing carryover from prior year. The department requests and recommends approval of this item.
Motion to approve item 47 with the correction on B to 52 million as the total.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Burris.
Yes.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear the director's item number 48, emergency bridge repair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. As I've often said, Fridays at ODOT are bridge days. On the 27th of March, we had one of those bridge days. We actually had 2 bridges that came to our attention that day, one being on US 377, State Highway 99, south of Tishomingo. That bridge, while not an emergency, we are going through some repair issues with that bridge. Currently, it is down to 1 lane with a stoplight on either end. Eventually, in the coming weeks, we'll be able to open it to 2-lane traffic, but we are going to reduce the speed on the bridge to lessen the impact as we begin to make repairs to the bridge. It is the bridge that we've discussed in previous commission meetings, talking about its ultimate replacement and how we're going to look at an offset alignment as well as our current replacement on the current alignment. The other bridge, and the one that we had to declare the emergency on, is on State Highway 83. And Mr. Chairman, if I might, I'll read this declaration in for your information. Requires no vote. And then after I get through, I'm going to ask Anthony Kelly, our Division II engineer, to come forward and discuss the repairs that are going to have to be made on the bridge. It's kind of a unique situation. There's a railroad, the Kansas City Southern, is underneath this bridge and poses some additional conflicts because of the number of trains that travel the track and how we can approach the repairs. So, Mr. Chairman, if I might, I'll read this into the record. During routine maintenance operation to repair potholes, Division II forces discovered significant deterioration of the inner beams of the State Highway 83 bridge over the Kansas City Southern rail line in LaFleur County. This I-beam span, which was constructed in 1937, has advanced section loss to the interior beam ends at both piers. The structural capacity of the bridge has been reduced to the point that it is necessary for Division II to close the bridge. Division forces do not have the capability to perform the necessary repairs. On March 27, 2015, I declared an emergency situation to exist pursuant to Title 61, Section 130, and Commission rules, and authorized the department to use expedited contract procedures to obtain a contractor to perform the repair of the 16 beam ends. The department has entered into a contract with B&B Construction Service, JT Incorporated, in the amount of $265,000 to do the repairs. It is expected that the repairs will be completed by May 1st, 2015, and the bridge returned to service. This, as I said before, this is an informational item and requires no action by the commission. I do want to give big kudos to Division II's maintenance forces for not just walking away from the situation, but recognizing that their asphalt repairs were not doing what they were supposed to, and they took the next measure and stepped up and did further investigation to identify this situation. Mr. Chairman, if I could have Anthony come forward and explain his repairs.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as the Director was describing on March 27th, who would think that we would say, thank God for a pothole, but that was definitely the case that day because the way the bridge was moving when traffic was on it triggered some further investigation by our crews. Fortunately, we were able to mobilize equipment to get underneath the structure. Our bridge division sent our bridge experts down immediately to analyze it. We got to take photos like that up very close to the situation. When cars would drive across the bridge, the deck would sink a little bit. As you can tell, the beams are badly corroded, and there are section loss in those beams. And as the vehicles would drive across it, that would deflect. There are 16 locations just like that throughout the bridge. Fortunately, the two outside beams are in very good condition. It's the interior beams that are in the bad shape. The Director mentioned a different approach to this repair, and that's thankfully we have the two outside beams to rely on, because since there is a railroad underneath and it's a very active track, high-speed rail, or not high-speed rail, but the trains travel through there pretty quickly and pretty frequently. Using the outside beams, we're going to be able to support the load of the bridge deck, the self-weight of the bridge, using the two outside beam lines. That will minimize our interaction with the rail. It won't eliminate it, but it will minimize the need to be underneath the bridge. So we'll be able to remove a section of the concrete deck that is over the top of about 6 feet of the ends of the beams. We'll be able to cut those beams away and weld in new sections. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. I would like to mention also the detour for this bridge is very, very long. It's about 60 miles if you use state highway system, and that includes about half of that is in Arkansas. And the Arkansas Highway Department has also assisted with traffic control to help inform drivers.
Does a member have need any further explanation?
What is the traffic count? 2,000 cars a day, is that right?
The latest traffic count we have is about 2,300 vehicles per day.
And when was this bridge last inspected? So if there wasn't a pothole, and thank God there was, if there wasn't a pothole, when would we have caught this?
This bridge is on a contract that was approved, I believe it was last September, by this commission to have an arm's length inspection of railroad crossings, just like this bridge. It's part of that contract, and it was scheduled to be inspected via that contract. It just hasn't made it yet.
It's my understanding also that you had to get up under it. I mean, it wasn't gonna be caught until there was an inspection done.
The view of this bridge from underneath, you walk underneath, the first time I walked underneath it, when I was called to the site, you couldn't see this from the ground. It was not obvious. It wasn't until we had our equipment up underneath there to where you can be very close to the ends of the beams. It's about 25 feet off the ground, the beams.
What's the frequency of the arm length inspections that you discussed?
I'm gonna have to defer that. I don't know.
Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, the frequency of this, the inspections on this bridge was every 2 years. It's one of our, what we call a normal bridge. It doesn't fall under our fracture critical or truss bridge inspections. The contract you approved last September, EC 1555, was to address inspections and also bridge washing on 175 railroad bridges. It's one of our initial forays into kind of a bridge preservation area. I believe that was going to be just a one-time contract. We're going to evaluate the effectiveness of the bridge washing and of that arm length inspection. This should have been caught on the normal biannual bridge inspection. It is evident that it wasn't. This bridge is of interest. It was overcoated in 1993 with a overcoating paint system, and it's our belief that that was aiding capillary action of water wicking into the beam ends at these leaking expansion joints, and that expedited some of the corrosion that we saw here. We're currently going through our records to see what types of bridges, what bridges we have this overcoat system on, and so we can go out and reevaluate those. We believe this is the only bridge that had this particular type of overcoat system. It was looked at in the early 90s as a cost-saving measure because you didn't have to remediate for lead-based paint. So.
We can't get away from the bridges, can we?
I wish we could.
They just keep giving us love.
And only on Friday.
It's never happened on a Tuesday morning. It's always Friday, seems like.
Need any further information on that item? If not, we'll hear the director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director's report, it's kind of ironic that Anthony stood up here and said, thank God for potholes, because that's one of the things that we wanted to address with the commission this morning is the tremendous number of potholes and challenges we have with our surface since the winter months. We've been asked, I know, by legislators, the public, commissioners, about what's going on with our surface. So I've asked Casey to put together just a little presentation for you, if I will, and if we could have Casey come up, and then I'll come back up after he gets finished.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I couldn't have scripted any better with the bridge slides and the conversation that Anthony had, because that does or has brought us to the place that we're going to look at right here, and that is our surface condition. We have not been able to place the emphasis and spend the funds on our surfaces that we would like to have, that we know that they need. And this winter particularly, we had a tough winter with many freeze-thaw cycles. And if you all are not getting phone calls, you probably will be, because our surface condition is certainly not what we would like it to be out there. And go ahead with the slides if you want. There's one slide for each division. This is not a local issue. It's not only down in Anthony's area. It's pretty much across the state. The type of repairs that are being made here are all done by hand. So our folks are out there with a dump truck full of asphalt, hand shoveling that into those and wheel rolling them in to try to keep those particular roadways passable. And that's all we're able to try to do. That one needs a little asphalt in it, it looks like. We hadn't quite got to that one there, Brian, in Division 4. Guys have probably got it taken care of by now, I imagine. But they're popping up faster than we can keep up with them. That'll be followed up, I would imagine, with probably some routine maintenance blade laid patches where we'll take our graders out there and lay over some of these areas to try to get us by until we can either address it with a project in our asset preservation plan or in our 8-year program if it's one. There's concrete pavement. So it's all over, and we recognize that we do have this problem, but the bad bridges that we just saw are still demanding our primary focus and our primary attention at this point. And until we get those into a manageable state, we're not going to be able to hit the roadways like we want to. When we get our bridges in good shape, we certainly will turn our focus on our roadway surfaces, and then we will see the same type of turnaround with our roadway surfaces that we are currently seeing with our bridges. We're just not quite there yet. Any questions?
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
As Casey talked, you know, you have to remember that our 8-year plan has been focused on bridges for a number of years. And we talked last time we presented a 8-year plan update to you that as we move into the 2020s, past the point in which we believe our bridges will be in a manageable state, you're beginning to see more surface types of projects. We've talked in the past about how the energy sector is using up our surface much quicker than we thought they would. It's not that they're tearing us up, it's just that they're using it faster. And then you go through a winter like we just went through with tremendous freeze-thaw cycles. Oklahoma's along a belt in the middle of the country where we see those kinds of freeze-thaws. If you go south of here, it doesn't freeze much. If you go north of here, it stays frozen. So we go through these cycles, and that's what really damages the surface. We're doing what we can. We're doing all that we can. And as I've often said, we're not doing all that we want to do and not all that we need to do, but we're doing all that we can do. So, commissioners, as you begin to get those kinds of calls, alert us. Please get with your division engineers, or certainly me or Casey, and we'll get out there and take care of the situation. But it's one in which we're attacking it as quickly as we can, but there's so much of it out there right now. But as we talked about our bridges, our official number is in. The last number I presented you with was our unofficial number at the end of December, and we were at 390. That's down from 468. Our official number is now in at we're 372. So we've made great progress. I'm so proud of this agency for taking our bridges from 468 to 372 in terms of structurally deficient bridges. And you have to recall that just to move it that far, you probably have to take care of twice as many bridges, because every inspection cycle, every pothole we may find a structurally deficient bridge. So every time out, we find them and we try to remedy them as quickly as possible. So every time we move one down, we've actually taken care of two, because we find them and fix them as quick as we can. So congratulations to ODOT for getting down to 372, on our way to being less than 1% by the year 2020, a mandate that the governor gave us along with the legislature. Earlier we talked about our safety awards. Congratulations to those people. We're making great strides. I noted that when Mr. Bracken talked about a 70% reduction in accidents since 1999, from 210 down to 58. 58. This is you guys know this, but this is an organization that is out in the traffic. We're using heavy machinery, sharp instruments, 58 accidents. You know, that includes bee stings. That includes all those types of, we're out in the elements. So congratulations to the ODOT crews, and particularly Division 1 for reducing their accidents by 91%. That's huge. And of course, Division 4 getting the governor's award for being the overall best. as the chairman said, we're all about safety. We have the only request bill that the agency put in this year, Senate Bill 322. And it's to provide the opportunity for us to have variable speed limits. Variable speed limits. So some people gravitate, oh, so you could just raise the speed limit whenever you want to. Well, it's not that. If we get into a maintenance work zone situation, we want to have the opportunity to reduce the speed limit. Not just put up a yellow sign as a suggestion. We want an enforceable speed limit reduction so that we can get law enforcement assistance for our maintenance workers, just like we have for our construction work zones. And so that particular bill is going through the legislative process and is going along very well. No opposition, because I think people understand that's what it's all about. It's all about protecting our workers and the traveling public, because we can start reducing the speed limit before they get into the work zone or the maintenance area. And the last thing I want to comment, and I need to give kudos again to Caltrans, the California Department of Transportation. Some months ago, and I mentioned this at a previous commission meeting, I asked the director, Malcolm Dockery, if he would loan us a couple of his engineers, and they came to Oklahoma and sat down with a large group of us and got us coached up on earthquakes. I mean, if there's anybody that knows more about earthquakes than Caltrans, I don't know who it would be. So they did that, and it allowed us and provided us good information that we adopted our protocol for inspecting bridges after earthquakes. And I know each of you were briefed on that maintenance protocol, but now we have a contract in place to even further that initiative so that we can understand the effects of seismic activity on bridges. And I know our bridge division is extremely excited about having this particular improvement. And to the commission, thank you for allowing us to get into that opportunity. Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No, I think we ought to note that the safety record is in the face of increasing traffic counts. And a lot more people on the road, a lot more vehicles, a lot more trucks.
Yes.
And so their accomplishment is greater than some would even think. And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought it would be a challenge to improve our bridges to the level we wanted to improve them without a negative effect on the surface. And I would hope that the legislature would stay partners with us as we try to continue to get those, not have these Fridays, and then not have to face such a big task after a tough winter, because some of those roads, you know, it's not the first winter they've been through a freeze-thaw.
That's right.
And that we didn't get to address and didn't get to do something about. But we've got a big challenge, just like a lot of people. So I would commend you and your staff for how you are responding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions of the director?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'd hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes.
Mr. Overland?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee?
Aye.
Mr. Regan?
Aye.
We're adjourned.